Hi everyone, welcome to 15 Minutes in the Forest. I'm Jennifer Gagnon with the Forest Landowner Education Program at Virginia Tech. And today I'm joining you from Stadium Woods on the Virginia Tech campus in Blacksburg. And I have two special guests with me today. First,
hi, my name is Dr. Anja Whittington, and I'm an associate professor in the forestry department and really focus on environmental conservation and recreating in the outdoors.
Hi, I'm Sarah Michael. I am a freshman at Virginia Tech, and I am currently in the College of Engineering.
And today we're going to talk about preparing to be in the woods and be in the woods safely, and how to deal with minor emergencies if they occur while you're out in the woods. So thank you both for being here. Let's go.
Great. First, we're going to start with the sort of 10 essentials that you'd want to take when you go out in the outdoors. Of course, this changes a little bit based on the weather and the environment that you're in, but the basic essentials should be in your little backpack or however you want to carry it when you head out into the woods. To start with, we always have navigation. I always carry my compass and my first aid kit, even though my phone is great and there's all kinds of wonderful instruments out there like Garmin's and other things that you can use, but you always want to back up just in case. So this is something that I have along with a map of the location in the area. Another thing to consider is basically I always take a light. So we say we have navigation and then we have illumination. These are fun. These are just a little headlamp. And the reason I like this is because I can be hands-free if I need to use it. It also, I can't see if it's working today, but it can also blink red if I should get into trouble or need any other help. Now, of course, a flashlight or another piece. I would recommend, though, that you don't count on your phone as your flashlight because you are going to want that in case you do get an emergency for other purposes. Other things that I always have in my bag for the day is I always have some quick foods and snacks. So nutrition is an important part of being out in the outdoors. You pick some of your favorites and put them in your pack, and sometimes these are in my bag for months on end, and sometimes I eat them. Another thing is water. So we always carry water, but I wanted to share with you a couple of interesting sort of things you could have just in case you should get yourself stuck out for longer than you had planned. They make this really great water filter. These go for about 20 bucks, maybe 30 now these days. And this is called a Sawyer water filter. You can put this right into the stream. I would kind of clean the threads just a little bit if you're concerned, and then you put it on and then you can squeeze it right into your mouth. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like it for multiple reasons because there's nothing like a nice cold water on a hot day. Along with that, in my first aid kit, which we'll go into in greater detail, I always have a potable water sort of little tablets. These are my favorite to use long term, but if I needed to in a pinch, I could put it right into my water bottle and treat my water. And again, you can get these everywhere, Walmart, Dick's, that kind of thing. Some other things is always some kind of, fire starter or a way to make some warmth. These are waterproof matches that, again, stay right in my first aid kit, and a lighter that I also put in my first aid kit. One of the other big parts of a 10 essentials is called a repair kit. I don't put a lot of stuff in there. I just always make sure I have my knife. But if I was going to be out for any longer time, I would have I would have some duct tape. I would have some other tools based on the equipment I'm using, whether it's a tent or whether it's a piece of machinery. That would help me. But this is light and small and can stay right in my kit. Within the 10 essentials, they talk about sun protection. Don't really need that today. We need our warm weather protection, but a hat, sunscreen, which I do not have with me, although I bet there's some in that little first aid kit, and sunglasses or whatever you prefer for sun protection. Another piece is an emergency shelter. This is just a little blanket. You've probably seen these like with people who run races and marathons and stuff. This isn't going to hold up very long, but it's going to provide some sort of warmth. When it starts to get really cold, I might carry something bigger They make little like dry sacks called bivy sacks. Those can get pricey though, but some sort of barrier between myself and the ground should I get hurt and need to sit down or warm up. For now, this is also in my first aid kit. So 2 other essential items to have within the 10 essential items is a first aid kit. And we're going to spend a little time going over these and a little bit opening them up and showing you some differences. And then clothing. And we wanted to spend a little bit of time on clothing because this is an important part of keeping yourself safe in the when you're in the woods and in the outdoors. And today happens to be chilly, so I'm going to turn to my model Sarah here. We are dressed in many layers today. She's wearing an underneath what we would call wicking layer. So there's an acronym for clothing. It's called WISE, which is wicking, insulation, shelter, and then extra. So this would be a typical insulation layer that keeps it's usually tighter and closer to your body. It's not made out of cotton because cotton, although really comfortable and really nice on a hot day, once it gets wet, it doesn't dry. And they actually say in the backcountry, cotton kills. So we can pick these up at all kinds of places, right? I usually get mine like TJ Maxx for a couple, do you know where you got yours?
I got mine as a Christmas present.
Perfect, good. Also, we have our insulation layer, or a wicking layer, I should say. Then if we talk about insulation, there's different things. I'm wearing a coat today. Sarah's wearing a vest. It's important to keep the core of your body as warm as possible. So that's a good insulation, but it doesn't have to be a down sort of piece like that. It can be a fleece. It can be a wool coat, wool sweater. It can be a flannel, shirt that's not made out of cotton. Basically, you're looking for any sort of polyester blend type of material. So we've got our wicking, we've got our insulation, and then, so S is kind of interesting. It's called shelter. And what that really means is just an out-of layer that will protect you from the elements. And I'm an avid backpacker, so I have a pretty nice raincoat, and I've spent a lot of time leading students in the backcountry where I've stood in the rain for hours and hours. So I always carry my raincoat, but this also can become my wind barrier to protect me from the wind. It's a little small with all this stuff on, but still. And then I have my outer layer rain pants. And this stays in my pack permanently, no matter what the weather is, as part of my extra clothing. So the E for extra. I always throw in an extra coat too, just in case someone gets hurt or I need to sit on the ground and I could get cold. This one's kind of nice because it's orange, so it's perfect for hunting season. I did not buy it because of that. I bought it because it was on sale, but it's worked out perfectly. And then I always have, even though I'm wearing a hat today, I still have another hat and mittens because I leave this in my pack unless I need it. And I keep this pack the whole time. And then just because I don't like wet feet, I always have dry socks. So this stuff I just shove onto a little bag. Kind of just kind of a little bit of a waterproof bag. It's not waterproof, it's water resistant is what I should say. Keeps stuff a little bit dry, but it's not going to hold up in the big rain. And those are my extra clothes. We wanted to spend a little time going over first aid kits. You can buy a pre-made first aid kit. They're pretty reasonable. Approximately, you can search for them everywhere, but this is a pretty good one. It has a lot of items in it. And then you can also make your own, which is sort of my thing to do. This is my own personal little first aid kit. And in it, I also have all my emergency stuff, like my compass and my fire starter and my whistle. That's what I forgot, is a whistle. So in this first aid kit is a whistle. But some common items in a first aid kit includes, this is something I added, this is matches, and I just put them in a waterproof container. So this was not part of the original kit. I also added a little first aid CPR mask and Benadryl. This kit did not come with Benadryl. Benadryl is not a common thing you'll find in a kit because of the expiration rate, plus you can't just, you have to get it behind the counter type of thing. But Benadryl should always be in your first aid kit in case someone gets stung, and it's a great option to take if somebody starts to have a reaction to a bite. So as far as medication goes, there's lots of things that come in this kit. It's important to note that in your first aid kit, whether you make your own like I do or whether you buy a pre one, that you have aspirin. Aspirin helps in the case of a potential heart attack. Make sure that it's not coated so that the person can actually chew the aspirin. So we always have aspirin, even if we have other things like ibuprofen or Tylenol or what have you, because aspirin is what we use in the situation for a heart attack. And then also in this pack is lots of great stuff like sting relief, triple antibiotic lotion, tape, which comes in handy for all kinds of things, always a little bandage. This one goes into greater detail, like these are scissors, Q-tips, tweezers are going to be important for removing of ticks or anything along those lines. And then this pack is nice because it has a cold compress. It came with a very ridiculous compass, but it would work in the situation as needed, and it came with a whistle, but we also like our other whistle that we added. And to this, we always have bandages. So these are just Band-Aids. These are a way to a non-adherent pad to put on any kind of cut, along with some bigger bandages needed for any sort of blood or what have you. And like I said, to this I also added some matches, waterproof matches, and then I'm a huge fan of something called moleskin. Moleskin is a adhesive tape. This is actually came with this kit, but there's more in here. This is for when you're getting like a friction in your shoes, maybe your shoes don't fit right. You can cut this out and put it onto that area to try to avoid getting a blister. So there's lots of good little things in here that can be used. You can also make your own first aid kit, which is what I typically do. You can see I have different types of moleskin in here because blisters are the most common thing that happen when we're hiking and stuff. But to this, we also make sure we have gloves. And this time of year, I also make sure I have some hand warmers and other things to keep me warm. And then instead of the fancy little bags, I have the sort of, equipment, the cream and lotions you can get and put into this. So, and then I also have my emergency stuff within my first aid kit. So this would go back in here, that piece, and then my matches and my lighter would go all in here. And then I can fit this, so I don't have to have something quite as big, all into a little bag so that my backpack doesn't weigh a ton and I don't have a ton of stuff with me. Especially if I'm on my own or with like one or two other folks. And there you have it. A little tiny first aid kit. Sarah, are you ready to head out for a hike and a walk on our property?
Yep.
Great. Listen, I have everything we need for safety and protection. And I've told my husband where we're going to be and what time we're going to be back. So that if we're not back in time, he can start to think about where we might be and how to help us even more.
Perfect.
All right, let's go.
Well, thank you for spending 15 minutes in the forest with us, and thanks to Anja and Sarah for teaching us about how to stay safe in the woods. Be sure to tune in 1 month for another edition of 15 Minutes in the Forest. Have a great weekend.
Stay safe.